Welcome to the Creating Powerful Impact podcast, where we look at behind the scenes of why and how leaders are making an impact and how you can too. I'm Shay Wheat, the founder and CEO of Grace and Ease Productions and the host of Creating Powerful Impact podcast. We support 6, 7, and 8-figure speakers, coaches, and expert thought leaders in creating powerful and profitable live and virtual live events. Our clients have made over $25 million in revenue, gained over 3,700 new clients, and changed the lives of over 29,000 attendees with events as few as 50 people and over 4,000 in attendance. So stick around to the end of the show where we'll reveal how you can be a next guest in just 15 to 20 minutes. Welcome to another episode of Powerful Impact. Today, my guest is somebody who has been in my world for a few years now. And when she came across the desk of being a part of the podcast, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so very, very excited. This is somebody that I've actually hired myself. So I'm very excited to share with her with you today on this stage. And just a little bit of background, when Julie actually decided that she needed to kind of take her coaching business seriously, she herself ended up hiring a high-end coach and learned all the quote unquote marketing like a man. She then was able to go ahead and double and then triple her income in less than a year. However, she really felt drained, uninspired, and restless. And so what happened was she was really urged by spirit. And with that, she embraced her essential of feminine and birthed a new way called the art of feminine business. So today, and this is how I know Julie, she really teaches female coaches, teachers, and healers who are frustrated with the traditional formulas on how to build 6-figure businesses that honor their feminine essence. And really, Julie's clients just report having much clearer vision of their divine purpose, greater passion for their work, and the skills to be able to attract the perfect clients, which is all we want, and at the same time being well paid for their gifts. Please help me welcome to the stage the amazing, the lovely, the gorgeous Julie to Creating Powerful Impact. Julie.
What a beautiful introduction. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm super excited for you to be with us today because we're going to chat a little bit more about like what are feminine power centers and what does that look like to do that type of marketing and how is it different? But before we kind of dive into the nitty-gritties of that, is there anything that you would like to share that I might have missed? And also talk a little bit about how you are creating impact in the world today.
Oh, I love that question. You know, I came from a background where my brothers were taught how to get along in the world. And I was taught how to be the support person, right? The proper way to hold a broom. And I was never really taught the strategies for how do I make money. And so when I graduated high school, I married my high school sweetheart and spent 20 years in an abusive relationship with him. And when I didn't leave because I didn't think I could make enough money to support my children. And I have way too many kids. No, I have 4 kids and 2 stepkids who have given me these delightful 8 grandkids. But that's a different story. So when I left, I really became first of all, I learned that I could take care of myself. Imagine that I could make money. And then I learned that I could make a lot of money. And so I really developed this mission of we need to get more money in the hands of more women.
Yeah.
And this is how that affects the world. When women have money, it changes the way they live their lives. Right? They get to do things that really support them, that create a really juicy life for them. I know you've been doing some traveling lately.
Yeah.
And I look at your photos and I'm like, yes, because I can feel you vibrating through your experiences, right? So we have these juicy experiences. We give ourselves really amazing food. We live in places that just light us up and delight us. And what that does is it raises our vibration. And as we raise our vibration, it raises the vibration of all the people around us. And continues to do that in waves, in ripples around the planet. So one of the ways that we as women get to help save the world, save the planet, is simply by doing this work and receiving money that raises our vibration. The other thing that happens is when women have money, they make choices that are good for them and their families. They don't stay in situations simply because they can't afford not to. They give to causes they believe in, and they support causes that make a difference. And I am absolutely convinced that in addition to recycling and cutting our plastic use, the way that we really save the planet is by getting more money in the hands of more women.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is fascinating, right? A lot of the marketing that is out there is, like you have to hammer it in, or you have to like do it a certain way. And you're like, okay, well, maybe that's the only way to do it, when really there is an alternative. I would love for you to kind of share exactly what is the art of feminine business and the art of feminine marketing. Like, what is that to do business in that way?
Yeah, I love that question. And I think we have to understand the nature of what is masculine and feminine energy. And when I talk about feminine business, we all have feminine in us and we all have masculine in us. I remember a guy friend posted, "Who's ready to kill it today?" on Facebook. And I thought, no, I don't want to kill anything. So when we're talking about masculine and feminine, lower energy masculine is a bully. And you can see this, we can see this in politics, but it bullies and pushes. And we do this to ourselves when we're in that lower energy masculine. We push longer hours. We go further than our body wants to go. We grind it out. We crush it. We kill it in the marketplace.
Even just the words themselves feel like
heavy.
Right. Yeah.
Now there's lower energy feminine as well, which is manipulative. We also see that in politics everywhere. But politics are such a great example of that lower energy stuff. And so, she manipulates, the lower energy manipulates. When we are working in our higher energy feminine, then we are in that space of creativity. We are in that space of connection, both with the divine and connection with everything around us. And when we are in that connected space, that's where new ideas, new solutions, things that have never been thought of or brought into being on the planet can come through. And then the higher energy masculine is designed to support that. So it takes action based on that creativity, that collaboration, that connection. And when we're in connection with all things, there's no competition.
Right.
Because we can't be in competition with the thing that we are. And when we are connected with all things, we are, it's like my left hand doesn't say, I'm in competition with my right hand today. I'm going to do it. Get out of here. Right. So we create this movement that is good for everyone through our actions, and there's no competition. And it's really interesting how easy it is to fall back into competition. So-and-so had a better event than I did. Oh, people are offering things similar to what I offer. And you feel that in your heart. And you have to come back when you're working in the feminine, you have to come back to the realization that source is your source, right? That source, God, the universe, the divine, whatever you want to call it. That's the source. And it is unlimited. And it wants you to have a juicy, amazing, exciting, beautiful life on your terms.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like for you. So there's no competition in that. It's unlimited. And when we give that up, then we can tap into this deeper realm of how do I create situations that are good for everyone, that are collaborative, that are community, that are loving, that are good for the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree. And, so it makes sense. You've got, everybody's got masculine and feminine. There's the high levels and the low levels of both. You probably kind of ebb and flow between all four of them, maybe in a day, maybe within 20 minutes of itself, right? In those moments. But how does do you happen to have some tips or ways that we can essentially activate and tap into these feminine power centers, so to speak?
Yeah. I love that. Thank you for asking. The first thing is each morning to have a practice of tapping into source, whether that be a prayer practice or a meditation practice or a simple blessing. I was taught, in the very beginning of my journey, I found a shaman somehow who taught me to connect with the earth and to connect with source every day, right? So there's this ritual of stopping and connecting and being with it all. The other thing that we do is my husband and I walk every day, and we go up into nature. So I get to connect with nature. I get to feel nature. I get to see whatever signs are coming. Are there bunnies on the road? Are there coyotes crossing our path? We are very lucky where we live. And the coyotes were very exciting the day I saw them. And I started talking to them. I was like, oh, baby, I'll back up. My husband's like, it's a coyote. Can you just
Can we just back up now?
Can we just back up? I'm like going forward. But I get to have that connection with nature. And I think that's really a great tip is if you, you can just go stand on the earth for 5 minutes and connect.
Yeah. I think that's part of it is the slowing down. So the masculine energy coming in and wanting to go okay, we have to go, we have to start, we have to hit it hard, we have to keep moving. And the feminine energy is yes, and we also need to slow down to allow for the space to have the divine have those downloads, right? Or those moments where you see nature showing up and you're oh, there's a lesson in that I'm now given, and I need to go ahead and you essentially then go and utilize it in your marketing of I saw this coyote today, and this is the message that I ended up getting out of it, or watching them or having them experience, right? So there's lessons always around, but if you're not slowing down and being in nature and connecting in with source, like you're saying, you miss all of that.
Exactly. And then the other thing is take time to daydream. The feminine takes time. She takes time to unveil. She likes to flirt. When you think about birthing a baby, you don't go, hey, I'm going to get pregnant and tomorrow I'm going to birth this baby out there, right? It takes time to grow these things, and you've got to give it space. And so I love the bubble bath at night is a space where a lot of stuff. I have clients who will say, all right, I'll do this in the shower tomorrow because that's when ideas drop in, right? I also, when I walk, I always take my phone with me so that I can dictate things that pop in. Because a lot of times, if I'm stuck writing or something, if I go out for a walk, the email I'm trying to write will just drop in as soon as I take my masculine have to brain off of it and just get out in nature, then it will drop in. So that's one of the things that I use all the time to activate that feminine creative. Anything you can get out of your head into your body will do it. So turning on music for 3 minutes and just dancing.
Yes. I forgot about dancing. And that actually came in for me earlier today, was like, oh, I get to play music in my office today. Like, and just dance around with our new puppy, right? Like, it's worked in the past. And when I've done it, so many things open up and my energy shifts and who I become and how I'm engaging and interacting with people changes with just the simple thing of playing some music and having joy.
Yeah. That's why we do it at events.
Right. That is why we do it at events, right? That is so true. Lesson learned for myself. Thank you.
Well, and the other thing that I do at some of my retreats is we actually use music to move through different emotions.
Yeah.
So if you're in a space where you're like, I hate everything, I hate the world, so many things, like I'm just then turning on some angry music and dancing through the angry music, and then going into the more joyful, because sometimes you turn on the joyful music and you're like, yeah, self.
You're like, that's not happening right now.
Yeah. I'm gonna go like throw something, which also works. Like if you want to move some energy, throwing things. So
they have places. Have you heard? There's one not too far from me where you can actually do like axe throwing and stuff.
Yes.
What is that?
Have they're not real axes, but my grandkids have the kits where you can throw plastic axes.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, yes, someday. My husband thinks it's stupid, but I'm like, yes, I want to go throw axes.
I think it would be so fun. That, and they also have the rooms that you can just like, I forget what they're called. Break things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
So good.
Move the energy. I love it.
It's all about moving energy.
Yeah.
So those are like some surface level things. Now, the other things that I teach my clients to do would be, before you go out and develop a strategy and put in place your big marketing strategy, we're going to have a conversation with your business. We're going to find out, because your business has its own energy. So what does it want? What's it longing for? How does it want to go forward?
Yeah.
I don't do webinars. And I've had coaches say to me, you really need to do webinars. Now, I've done them before. I hate them. They're not good energy for me. They, if you hate what you're doing, then you're not going to.
It's going to show up. It's coming through. Yeah. Everybody else is picking up on that.
And so when I get ready to do something, I will go talk to my business and I'll say, hey, how about a webinar? My business goes, you know better than that. Like, don't do that. But could you set up 3 Facebook lives? And I'm like, yes, I love lives. And so instead of going out and grabbing a guru formula and saying, here's how we do it. We do, a gift to a webinar to a whatever the funnel is. I can't even remember how that funnel goes. We go inward. We have a conversation with the energy of our business and we say, how do you want me to do this? What would be best for the people who are coming to this? And spend that time in that space, that quiet space, before ever taking an action. Okay, what's next?
That's huge. Yeah. Yeah. I was just having a conversation with another client of mine, and she's like, we really need to, bring in leads, and, people are doing summits and they're doing this, that, and the other, and challenges. I just don't really enjoy challenges, even though people are getting crazy results from it. And I was like, that's going to show up. We're not going to do a challenge because that's going to show up and people will not buy and people will not get value out of it because that's what's showing up for you. Right. And the business is not asking for it. So love that it's like checking in and saying, okay, what is the next best step for my audience and who I'm calling in and who I'm here to serve and, you know, really create that impact in the world for, and checking in. I love that. That's a good note.
And you can also do that with like the energy of your tribe. So the people you're meant to serve have created this kind of energetic body. So I'll go and I'll question them. What do you need to hear from me?
Mm-hmm.
What are the words that you need to hear in order to know I'm the right person for you?
So are there any like keys to really understanding like who your perfect client is?
Yeah. So I do this work that's so awesome. You and I did it, I think. And I didn't invent it. Brilliant man, Jeffrey Van Dyke invented it.
Oh.
But the keys to this is that your clients are the people who are looking for you are feeling the way you felt during your childhood wounds.
Oh, uh-huh.
And they're craving what you were craving. So for instance, my people are often in a space where they're feeling small and powerless and all alone. And they really want to be acknowledged for their gifts. They really want to be respected. They really want to be understood. And I'm looking over here because I have written those words on a board so that I always remember them in my marketing. So if you look at, okay, what's the wounding that I experienced in my life that I spent my whole life figuring out how to heal that wound? Well, that's the wound that my people have that I'm meant to heal for them. And when you pull out what you felt and what you craved, that becomes your away from and towards marketing. And you can begin to speak to them in that way. And you can really understand when you know what the wound is that you're meant to heal for them, you hear it in your conversations, you hear it in your sales conversations.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you'll be like, oh yeah, you're my person.
Yeah. I got you. I can help you. I can support you moving through this. And yeah, absolutely. And it really becomes a part of your community, right? Like we don't need hundreds of thousands of clients. We just need the right ones that resonate with us and we resonate with them.
And I think that it's the people we're meant to work with. I kind of have this vision of a big job board out there somewhere in Source. And we go, hey, this is the job I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to take on when I get down to the planet. And a whole bunch of people are like, oh, thank God, we're going to need you. Yeah. And your job now as an entrepreneur is to lay the breadcrumbs or turn on the floodlights so that they can find you because they're looking. They're looking for you. They're crying in the dark going, when are you going to show up?
Yeah.
And your job is to light up the world so that those people can find you. Now, if you're using the right words, the right languaging, your own unique languaging and your own unique strategies that maybe you've taken, from the gurus and tweaked, right? Because I certainly didn't invent Facebook Lives, but the way I do them is unique to me. And so when you're doing it that way, then the people you're meant to serve are like, oh my gosh, finally, you're here. She understands me. I need to know more about this. Yeah. And the people who aren't meant to be yours will just be like, and move on.
Right. Next, as they go and try and look for their person. Right? Exactly. Their community and their connection and space on the job board that they're supposed to be doing. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, okay, we've got now checking in with our business and checking in with the feminine power centers. But how do we actually look at this on an everyday kind of practice? Everybody has to make money. Money is an exchange and a flow of energy. So how do we utilize this to allow the money to come in and to flow in and to actually create more profit in our businesses?
Oh, that's a great question. That's a huge question. So I think the first thing is to understand that just checking in won't do it.
Yeah.
You then have to say, what is the next right action? Okay, so my business says, don't do a webinar, do 3 Facebook Lives. Okay, business, what's the next right step? Oh, well, first you schedule them, and then you need to figure out how to invite people. So let's write some email copy. And then maybe you can take a break and go to the beach, right? And when my business says to me, stop and go to the beach, it doesn't happen very often, but when my business says today you need to stop and go to the beach, I stop and go to the beach because miraculous things will happen when I listen. Part of this is that we are opening our channels, and me sitting on the beach really helps me open my channels of receiving, helps me feel more spacious, right? And so part of that is we are opening our ability to receive. Part of it is we are sending out like our vibration, which will magnetically attract the vibration of our right people. And then on the physical plane, we are giving them a doorway to come through. Hey, I'm doing a Facebook Live. Please show up. I would never write it that way, but that's basically the doorway so that they feel it, then they see the words, and then they're like, oh yeah, I've got to be there.
So it's listening to the business. The business says, okay, do 3 Facebook Lives. Start writing the copy. Now I want you to, is it like then posting it and then going to the beach is, let's just say that's the moment. They're like, yep, go to the beach and then come back and do the next best step.
Yeah. And sometimes at the beach, a lot of things will pop in like, oh, here's the next thing. Or maybe it's the next thing is to rest. Maybe the next thing is to daydream. Maybe the next thing is to vision. And as you're visioning and daydreaming, this energy builds up around the vision that has to be expressed. So then you're like, ooh, now I've got all the energy to go write a whole bunch more emails or to call some people and get them there or whatever it is you're doing. And so taking that downtime and really visioning and seeing what your business is telling you helps you build the energy to take the actions. And the really cool thing is when you've slowed down at the beginning, when you do take action, you've got so much energy that things get done faster, get done easier, and have a bigger result because of it. So you can grind your way all the way through.
Right. And sit there and twiddle your thumbs and procrastinate because during that time, it's so funny. During the time that let's say your business says go to the beach or go listen to music or dance around, you're like, no, I have to grind through. I have to sit here. But then you just end up like procrastinating and twiddling your thumbs anyway.
Yeah. And not getting the energy moving.
It's not getting what's supposed to be coming through because you're like, I have to sit here. I have to be here for 8 hours in a day and do work.
Oh my gosh, that whole 8 hours a day thing, right? Like you're going to work. I used to, when my husband had quite a bit of time off during the pandemic, and I'd come up to my office and I'd just be like, okay, what do I do? Because it was work hours and I didn't want him to know. Really, for me, it's like maybe 4 or 5 hours during the day. And then I will come downstairs and pet the cats. And I would just sit in my office and I did that for a little bit. And then I thought, wait,
this is silly.
This is silly. I am creating a new way of doing business.
Right.
When I give myself that spaciousness, I get everything done.
Yeah. I was talking to a client yesterday and she was like, okay, so I'm getting more done in less time. Do you have that happen for you? I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
When you actually tap into these types of things, you are getting more done in less time with less stress because you also have space to do like just be, right?
And then people feel that.
And they feel that.
And they want that too.
Yeah. Yep. And then they're attracted to you. So, I mean, Julie, holy cow, we've gone through a number of different things. We've gone through, talking to your business and talking about like the power centers and how you actually tap into that and the keys to understanding how you're then going to attract your clients magnetically, and getting to know them and where they're at, and the feminine and the masculine and how they work together, because it's in all of us. Sadly, we have to wrap up, but I know. I want to give people an opportunity to stay in contact with you. So I would love for you to share with us, like, how do they do that? And then I also hear you have a free gift for us.
I do. So one of the best ways to stay in contact, we have a Facebook group, Feminine Business Magic. We'll put the link in the show notes. Oh, that was yours to say.
No, you say it. You tell them how to get a hold of you.
I also have a podcast. So Feminine Business Magic, the podcast. So I'm used to saying we'll put it in the show notes. And in our Facebook group, we do a lot of engagement things. So we just did an online experience around courting money and having a relationship with money.
You can court money. Ooh, that's so exciting.
Cool. And so we do a lot of that stuff. We brag on Wednesdays because little girls are told not to brag. And it is the most powerful thing you can do for yourself is bragging. And so I invite everybody to join us there. And then we talked in the beginning about some morning practices, morning rituals. And so I put together a bunch of my practices and rituals in something I call the Wise Witch's Guide. And so that's something people can get for free from me if they want to look at the different kinds of practices that I use in my business.
And that we will also put in the show notes, the link to the Wise Witch Guide. We'll also be in the show notes. Absolutely. Yay. Thank you, Julie. I greatly appreciate you being with us. Make sure everybody here checks out your Facebook group, checks out your podcast, picks up the downloadable, the gift, and continues to really, I hope for everybody, whether they're identified as masculine or feminine, really takes a look and listen to this, because we have it all within us. And how do we actually utilize that to grow our business, to grow our impact, but also to support the people we're here to support on that job board of life. So anything you'd like to leave our audience with today before we wrap up?
Oh, let me just tap in for a minute. What I'm hearing is to really, really take in the truth that Source has your back, that Source wants you to have. The things that you're really desiring at the depth of your soul, that is what Source wants for you. And when you can dream it, you can actually bring it into reality. So, just know you are loved, and Source loves you.
I love it. Thank you, Julie, for being with us today. And thank you all for listening to another episode of Creating Powerful Impact. Until next time, we'll see you on the next episode. Take care. Thank you so much for listening to the Creating Powerful Impact podcast. If you are a successful coach, speaker, author, or thought leader who would like to be on this program, simply visit creatingpowerfulimpact.com/guest. If you are someone who got something out of this interview, would you please do me a favor and share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on your socials. Also, if you know somebody that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Creating Powerful Impact. I love seeing all of your posts and great guest selections. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show, and they really mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more about us? Head on over to our website, graceandeaseproductions.com, or follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. Just look for Grace and Ease Productions on your favorite platform. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.